In this video, we'll configure the Adulticiding application. The Adulticiding toolbar in ArcMap contains a configuration utility as well as options to set areas, or set layers rather, for fog areas, fog routes, and no spray zones. Let's start with the configuration utility. In the configuration utility, we'll set up pick lists for users, chemicals, equipment, and timecard activities. Under the general options, usernames can be configured. First of all, we'll delete the example employee 1 and employee 2 from the list and add a new name into the list. I have the option to allow map viewing or not for each user. If unchecked, the sprayer would have to be off or the truck would have to be stopped in order to view the map on the mobile. If checked, the map can be viewed at any time. So I'll add a couple of users to the list here. Another pick list that's defined here is for wind speed. When a session is created, a fogging session or other session, wind speed, temperature, and wind direction can be entered. Those are optional items. The wind speed is set up as a pick list, so maybe I want to remove some of those items and put in another choice for too windy. So I can set that up however I would like. It is optional information though. There's also an option to set auto pan to GPS to true. This means that the map will follow you if you're looking at the map. If that's unchecked, then you could zoom in on any part of the map no matter where you're located. That setting would apply to all mobile devices running Adulticiding. Let's look at the equipment page. And for equipment, I would specify trucks and sprayers. I'm going to remove the trucks that are on the list here and add my own. And this could be anything that you would like. It could be a common name, it could be a license number. So whatever makes sense for your designation for vehicles. For sprayers, there are some listed down below, and I'm just going to remove these ones from the list. I could also select them and modify them, but I'll show how to create ones from scratch here. So we'll remove all the example ones. And let's just say that I have a London fog sprayer, and so my equipment name could be whatever I would like. Equipment number could be my equipment tag, property ID. This is completely up to you. The calibration value is important for London foggers as well as the Phoenix B&G Phoenix foggers. The program uses the calibration value that you enter here to calculate the flow rate. So I'll specify that this is a London fogger type and then save that. Let's add another one. And I'll specify that this is a Clark Smart Flow. And you'll notice that the calibration value is grayed out. The Clark Smart Flow and the Curtis Dynafog units output the flow rate, so there isn't any need to enter a calibration value. Okay. So I'm going to actually clear that and add a different one in here. The baud rate, you'll notice, doesn't ever have to be edited. Based on the type of sprayer, the program automatically knows what the baud rate, which is a communication parameter, is. Let's look next at assignments. This is where we specify to the program that my London fogger is in my white Dodge, and my Phoenix 1800 is in this truck. Now if I move that sprayer to another truck, I would come in here, remove this assignment, maybe I switch them around, remove both assignments, and now my London fogger is in this vehicle, and my Phoenix is in the white Dodge. So that's how I tell the program that I have moved the equipment. The chemicals page has some chemicals already listed, so let's pick one here and edit it so you can see the details. The name is obvious. The code would be maybe my internal code for that product, or if I had my own mix, I could put in my own mix as well. In the case of this particular product, it's undiluted, so my mixing agent is none, and my mix ratio is 1:0. And then I'll put in the active ingredient, the total pounds per gallon of active ingredient right off the label. Typically that's the primary active ingredient, but this is flexible. If you would like to report on the total active ingredients, plural, all of them, then you would enter in that total value here. And then of course you would know the ratio between those. So I'm going to clear that. If we have to add a new product in, the items that are marked with an asterisk are required. Let's say that we're putting in a new product and it's mixed at a 1:20 ratio. I've adopted the convention of including as part of the product name the mix rate. So in this case maybe we're mixing it with water, and the mix ratio is 1:20. Well, that's not on my list, so I'll type in 20 and add it to my list, and then I can select it. The active ingredient pounds per gallon, let's just say it's 0.45 pounds per gallon, and then the registration number. That would come off the label. And then I could save that. So it would add that into my list. If I need to remove an item from the list, just highlight it, press remove. If I'd like to edit anything, I can edit it, and then press update. The last thing to configure is timecard activities. Most people record, of course, just the fogging sessions, but it is possible to record other activities like the time and distance to drive to a fog area or drive back to the shop, or breaks or maintenance. So if it's important to track everywhere where the field crews go, as well as the time spent, you can set up activities here. And those can be anything that's meaningful to you. So we'll close the configuration utility. Let's configure the fog area layer. In my case, I have a zones layer, basically, for my entire area of coverage, and that's called zones. So I'm going to specify for the fog area layer that I'm using zones, and the name field is name, and they're just numbered 1 through 10. So now my reports will show my total chemical used and so on per zone or per fog area. Those fog areas must be polygons, and they must not overlap. Additionally, when I create a spray session in the field, wherever that spray session is created is the fog area that record will be linked to. So the convention is when you create a spray session in one neighborhood, you would end that spray session before going to another area and start a new one there. That becomes clear as we look at how to use the mobile application, which is covered in another video. Let's specify a fog route layer. Fog routes are a way for the driver to be warned if they drive off route. So I have a fog route drawn in here for a neighborhood of town, and that's just a line drawn in a layer called fog route. the configuration here is to tell the program that my fog route layer is this one, the name of the routes is found in this field, and then the warning distance is, in my case, 100 feet. And then I can specify my own warning sound. So if the driver gets more than 100 feet off of the route, he'll get an audible tone, he or she will get an audible tone and a warning on the screen. It doesn't turn the sprayer off, but it would provide a warning. Now how do I know that that's 100 feet? Let me save this. The map units can be found by going to Properties for the data frame, and under Coordinate System it will specify to us what the units are. So this we're using state plane, and the units are US feet. Now those fog routes must be line features, and they must be uniquely named. So I cannot have more than one feature, more than one line called West Side Neighborhood. I would have to have only one line called West Side Neighborhood. Let's go into Adulticiding and set a no spray zone layer. I have some polygons here representing properties or parks that I'm not allowed to spray on. So that's been drawn into a polygon layer called no spray. That has to be one layer and has to be polygon. So I have told the program this is my no spray zone layer, and I want to be warned when I'm within 100 feet of any no spray zone, any no spray feature, and then give me a warning sound when I get close. Again, it will not turn the sprayer off, it'll just provide a warning. Now I'll have a separate video for how to create a fog route or how to create a no spray zone, but that is how we would configure for the program to use those layers. Those are not required. None of those layer configurations are required, but it does add some additional value to the program. Let's go to Adulticiding, extract map data, and when we do that, it'll add in our layers for the fogger data, which will populate with data once we collect some field data, and then we'll specify which layers we want to extract. I'm going to turn off the layers that are used for larviciding and just take the ones that are needed for adulticiding. So I have roads, my fog route, no spray zone, and zones layer. So that covers configuring the Adulticiding desktop application.